Let me share my screen. Go. Okay. Move this out of the way. Okay. All right, welcome everybody to one of our class coordinating board information sessions. So first, Nick and I will introduce ourselves. So my name is Ella. I am one of the senior co-presidents, and as I said, I'm a senior. I concentrate in political science. Nick?
Yeah, so hi everybody. I'm so excited to see you all. I'm super excited that you all are interested in joining CCB, possibly, or just learning more about our role on campus. I'm Nick. I am a senior. I am the senior co-president along with Ella. I concentrate in economics and biology. A little bit about what I do outside of CCB. So I am involved with Brown EMS. I am on the first gens at Brown eBoard. I do public health and biology research, and I do a little bit of theater on campus. So if you have any questions about CCB or anything that I just mentioned, you can email me at any time, and I'm more than happy to answer those.
Oh yeah, I should have mentioned like other stuff I do besides CCB. I'm also on the Brown Democrats e-board, which is a really fun time. Oh wait, we have someone else. Exciting. I have also been involved in Greek life. I've also worked in a variety of different spaces on campus, like the Brown Center for Students of Color. I also have worked at Brown Career Lab, and I'm also a little bit involved in fashion at Brown, which is a fun time because I do have a bit of a shopping addiction. So being able to talk about clothing makes me feel better. Okay. Hello to the person that joined. We're so happy to have you. Okay, so what exactly does CCB do? So our main goal is to build community at Brown. And so that sounds very vague, but we can get more into that. So how do we do that? So essentially what CCB does is we plan both campus-wide events as well as individual class events to kind of bring people together, make sure people are having like the best, most enjoyable time at Brown. And yeah, just to also like build like class spirit and class unity, all that good stuff. Okay.
Yeah, so these are some of our values. So like Ella said, we try to build a sense of community at Brown and foster a sense of community at Brown within the individual classes, but then on a school-wide level as well. And then we try to keep strong ties with our alumni. And so we do have involvement with the Alumni Association. We try to enrich the Brown student experience by creating, planning, and putting on inclusive and accessible, both physically and financially accessible events. So you'll see that all of our events are free to all Brown students. And we plan these events and put together these events just to promote class spirit and unity. And then lastly, we sustain traditions that have been around for ages, but also create new ones, which is extremely timely of what's going on right now. We've had to adapt to a lot of different things in the pandemic, and also a lot of our events this year have been virtual. And so, yeah. Okay, so these are our board positions. So each board is comprised of six representatives, with the exception of the senior board that has seven. That they have two senior co-presidents, and that's just due to the fact that the senior class has a lot of the senior board has a lot of responsibilities. They have to plan a senior night each month. They have to put together senior week, which is just a week of events right before graduation. So like some of the events in the past have been casino night. Like we have like Brown's Finest, where it's like a talent show at Brown. Like Last Meal at the Ratty, which I'm sure you'll come to love. It's just our dining hall on campus. And so that's why that we have two senior co-presidents for the senior board. But for the other boards, they're the president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, public relations officer, and then community outreach officer. And although these are specific positions and they have their defined responsibilities, I will say that what we love about CCB, both Elle and I, is that like the people who fill these positions are pretty versatile in their, what their expertise, things they're interested in. So like you'll even if you're like the community outreach officer, you might like help the treasurer in going into our undergraduate finance board to argue for a budget, or you might help if you're the public relations officer, you might help the president with their party managing duties and things like that. So it's really a team effort, and that's what I love about CCB.
That is very true. Oh, one quick thing. Senior week is one of the exceptions for our free events. Senior week and then our gala event, which we usually have in a regular year, but those are the only events that students have to pay to attend, but we do try to offer financial aid to everybody that requests it.
Thanks for catching that, Ella.
So subcommittees is a really fun, kind of a newer initiative that started, I think, my sophomore year. So these are like filled by CCB members, and so also in an effort to kind of define some of the more malleable positions. Certain positions are kind of connected to subcommittees. So there's the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. I'm a little biased in my personal favorite because I was on it for 2 years. But essentially, what that committee does is works to make sure, one, the internal culture of CCB is running smoothly and going well for everyone, that any CCB member like feels comfortable, like voicing their thoughts, opinions, like constructive criticism, anything like that. Just to make sure everybody's having a really good time, like with each other, because that is perhaps the best thing about CCB is how honestly how close you'll become with everyone else. Not just on your individual class board, but just like in CCB as a whole. So there's the Constitutions and Elections Committee. And so, they help Nick and I, because the senior co-presidents are technically election chairs, but they're very helpful in formulating election guidelines, updating our elections handbook, as well as updating our constitution, which has been a pretty big task this year because, with COVID, we didn't really have some of those protocols that we thought we would need in case of like multiple people from a board just couldn't come back, even though they were elected. And then the last one is the Bonding and Mentorship Committee, which is really great. And that really helps to build those inner CCB connections because they plan bonding events for all of us to enjoy, and even virtually. We've had like an Among Us game night with all of us, which was really fun. We also have little CCB families, so like each of the seniors and like with some of the juniors and sophomores. So you all, if you all join, you'll be put into a little family, which is really fun. And then also like for birthdays, they'll have like during our general body meetings, like they'll have like a little like trivia slideshow of like cute trivia questions about like whoever's birthday it is. So it's a really good time. All right, Nick, do you want to take this one?
Sure. So this is just a graphic just to sort of represent the life cycle of CCB events. So first step is ideation. So you'll either create a form for your class and send it out to your class listserv and gather ideas and gauge interests. Or one of your board members will have an idea. They'll say, in high school, I put together this school dance and it was really cool, and I want to bring that to Brown. And so that's the first step. That's what happens. So you'll discuss with your board at the beginning of the semester about which events you want to put together that semester. So usually each board will put together 2 to 3 events per semester. And then CCB as a whole puts together, I would say, 2 to 3 events per semester as well. So again, in that ideation phase, we're just making sure that our events are representative, inclusive, collaborative, and accessible. And then we move on to step 2, which is strategic planning. So that's where you really get into the nitty gritty of emailing vendors, figuring out the logistics, starting to draft posters, and then going into our undergraduate finance board to argue to make sure that we're following our lump sum policies. So each board, the first year board has an allotted amount that they're given each year, and you just got to make sure that you're following the policies outlined by UFB, which include not giving away prizes, not giving away too many prizes to students and things like that. And then step 3 is just implementation. So making sure that you have like a shift list, making sure that you know where everybody is at all times, making sure that you have facilities in place, and then making sure that you have like ESS staff, which is our security on campus, just to monitor things. And like for seniors, sometimes we have events with alcohol, so they will, we have a CCB member joining us.
Very exciting.
Our senior PR officer. And so I was saying, yeah, so some for senior events, ESS, our security on campus, is essential because they'll actually check IDs to make sure that if we're having alcohol at the events, that people in attendance are over the age of 21.
Hi,
Any
Max.
Hi, Max.
We're so happy to have you.
Any questions before we move forward? Because I know that was a lot that we just threw at you guys. Okay, great.
Okay, I can move it on this side. All right. Nick, is it cool if I take this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so as we kind of mentioned before, that there's two types of events we will plan, which is campus-wide for all undergraduate students, as well as individual board events. So here are some of the typical events we have had, like in an in-person semester. And we'll definitely talk about the virtual events we've had as well. But the class of 2020 did apple picking, which is really fun, and I was able to you can also tag along to you can attend other boards events, which is fun, and you can also help out, or you can just enjoy, which is a great time. And then so there's Serene on the Green, which is kind of just like a self-care big relaxation event. There are insomnia cookies, there's a bounce house, there's stress ball making. It was really cute and fun. There's coloring, I think. Yeah, it was very fun. You want to talk about our CCB wide events, Nicholas?
Sure. So again, yeah, I know the slideshow sometimes. So again, we have our individual board events, but then we also have our school-wide events. So one of our most popular and perhaps most expensive event that we have is Gala. And you can just think about that like a college prom. We usually go out to this venue called Rhodes on the Patuxent. It's really nice, really classy, and people dress up in really fancy clothes. And it's just a nice night to go out and be with your friends and just have a good time. This is our biggest event, so we usually have anywhere from 1,400 to 1,600 attendees. And like Ella mentioned yesterday, and she caught me on this, which is really good. This is along with Senior Week, this event is one of two events that we charge for. So students do have to pay to attend this event, but it's something like $20 to $25 per student.
We always do offer financial aid, and Nick and I were actually one of the co-chairs for this event, and we did make sure that everybody who requested financial aid got financial aid for this event.
And then, excuse me, we also have Gigs on the Grass, which is sort of our music festival, which typically happens in the fall, but in recent years, it's been happening in the spring. And so we'll just feature different performers, like rappers, different artists, singers, bands, yeah, so anything like that. And you can see here one of our performers in the picture below.
Okay. So you guys might be wondering, how have we been able to foster that community while being solely virtual, because we haven't been able to have any in-person events. So we've also been trying to promote campus-wide resources, sending out emails of just anything people can use to take care of themselves, like psychological services, academic services, making sure that people are aware of the semester deadlines to register for classes, that type thing. The juniors and sophomores have done a CC bulletin, which is a great way, I think, to help us spread the word to our entire class about what other great student organizations are doing that don't necessarily have the same marketing and promotion access that CCB does. And because there are a lot of other really cool virtual events that are happening, that we just want to share a spotlight on. We've also been doing some asynchronous submission-based events because Zoom fatigue is a very real thing, and we still wanted to engage our classes participation and to try and promote what folks are doing. I know the sophomores did a submit photos of your pets, and we'll post it on our social media. And actually, Max, our amazing PR officer, was a big help for what the seniors just did. Was we did a dessert cookbook. So we had a submission form, and people would submit their recipes for their favorite winter desserts, and maybe if there's a little story behind it, oh, we used to make this with my grandma all the time and we loved it. and Max is putting it all together, and we're gonna make like a cookbook for our senior class. So it's been, and we've also had virtual synchronous events. Like we had the seniors had a murder mystery night last semester around Halloween, and so we hired this like professional service, and it was over Zoom. But like everybody, like the actors were in like these costumes and accents and makeup, and it was really funny too. I thought the actors were really funny. There were a lot of like cheesy like monster puns, but I thought it was cute. I know the juniors have done a trivia night. Oh, we also, as Nick mentioned before, the gigs on the grass event that we did, we wanted to make that virtual, so we did gigs on the screen. So we had a bunch of, we still had like auditions. We had a bunch of different performers. One of the performers I actually live with, and he's one of my housemates, and so it was just really funny. Like he was like performing in the living room, and we're like cheering him on in the other room, but like quietly because we didn't want to mess up his performance. But we had, like 5,000 people tune in, and we had like 2,000 plus engagements. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And we thought it was a great way to still showcase how talented folks are even in this virtual setting. All right, Nick, take it
Okay.
away.
So now we're shifting into the elections portion of our session. Before we do that, I do want to say that, like, we've been underscoring the our role in planning events on campus, and that is what CCB mainly does. But being elected officials and elected representatives of your class, you'll sometimes, like Elle and I, get emails saying like these are things that we dislike, or these are themes that we're seeing that we're not really vibing with, and we want to see change, and you being our representative, we want you to bring this up. So we're hoping in the future we can be in more communication with with student government and bring up our class's concerns to them as well. So you're also responsible for doing that as well. Um, so this is just a general elections timeline. So yesterday and today, at 12 and 7, are elections information sessions, which you all have completed. So congratulations on completing your first requirement. You're only required to attend one of the sessions, but are welcome to attend multiple. Just if you would like to see Ella and I's faces, twice a day, come to the 7 p.m. session. Why not?
We don't blame you if you don't, though. We don't blame you.
Um, I'll blame you. Ella won't. And then Friday, January 15th, so tomorrow actually, at 12 p.m. to Monday, January 18th at 11:59 p.m. Is the campaign materials approval period. So anytime between Friday to Monday, you can send us your campaign materials and to classboard@brown.edu. Don't worry, you don't have to write that down right now. It'll be in a later slide. And we'll go over what campaign materials look like in a later slide as well. But just for a timeline, you can send us your campaign materials and Elle and I will approve them via email. And then all materials must be received by January 18th at 11:59 p.m. That is a strict deadline, but again, with everything going on, we're trying to be a lot more flexible and accommodating. So if you have any concerns or you don't think you can make that deadline, please reach out to us. Yeah. And then from Tuesday, January 19th at 9 a.m. to Wednesday, January 27th at 11:59 p.m. is campaigning period. So you'll be able to post any of your physical posters, hold your, open your Facebook groups, open your Facebook events, hold Zoom meetings, whatever you want to do to campaign. That'll be the period to do so.
Wait, you're not doing physical posters.
Sorry, I didn't mean I meant posters virtually. That's what I meant to say. And then Monday, January 25th at 12 p.m. to Thursday, January 28th at 5 p.m. polls will remain open for voting. So as you can see, the campaigning period and the voting period overlap, so you can campaign while polls are open. And then Friday, January 29th at 12 p.m., Ella and I will write to your class and we will announce our first year officers. Okay, so these are some of the requirements for running for a position on CCB. And again, that's that email. So all materials should be sent to classboard@brown.edu. So if you want to write that down, it's also in our handbook, and you've gotten several emails from us already this year. So I'm sure you'll find it if you don't have a chance to write it down right now. No prior experience with event planning is necessary. No prior experience in like student government. You know, like there's nothing, you don't have to do any, you don't have to have had any experience doing anything. Like we just want people who are just willing to foster, willing to help us in fostering community on campus. And we have people on campus with people on CCB who have no experience at all, and they've been great. Like I had like we have several people who literally came in and they said, I didn't do student government, but I really want to run for this position. I really want to help plan events on campus, and they've done phenomenal work. So don't, if you don't have any prior experience, please don't let that discourage you from running. We do require a candidate statement, so that's one standard page of no more than 350 words, and you can really do anything you want with that. The only thing that we ask is that you include a picture of yourself, and so these are some suggestions of things that you can include and things that people have included in the past. So people usually include personal goals, qualifications, experience, intended projects, collaborations that they've done with the high school student groups, things like that. Ella and I actually have an example. Ella, do you want to go to the next slide just so we can show them?
Well, yeah, just the first, let's just quickly finish the approval.
So, and also I should add that statements should be emailed in PDF formats because we will be attaching your statements in the survey, in the survey poll that we send out to your class. So make sure that those are in PDF format. As Ella said before, we are the election co-chairs, so we will be approving your campaign materials. All materials, but not constrained to posters, Zoom invites, Facebook groups must be approved by Ella or me, and all materials must be emailed by, again, January 18th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. More about this on the next slide.
So here are Nick and I's examples from senior year. If you're not a huge graphic design person, like that's okay. Like Canva is amazing and free, and like I've used Canva multiple times. But yeah, we just kind of put like our goals, our contact information, just a little like fun intro about us. I also still have my statement from when I ran my first year, and if you guys like ever want to just like email me and you want to like see it, like please don't hesitate to do so. I'll put my email in the chat at the end. But yeah, it's aw, Nick, you look so cute.
Okay, so campaign, thanks Max for putting that in there. Can you put mine too? Just Max is putting our emails in the chat.
Max.
So yeah, so reach out to us with any questions, but all your materials, like, and everything related to like campaigning should be emailed to classboard@brown.edu. Just wanted to make that clear. Each candidate is allowed 50 publicity points and or a $20 budget. We'll go over what publicity points look like in the next slide, and Ella will talk a little bit about that. But whichever is reached first is the end of your budget. And the goal in doing this is we know that finances can play a huge role in getting people elected and campaigning, and we really want to eliminate that factor altogether. So that's the only reason we do this. We try to eliminate any spending advantages that one candidate may have over another. And we do strictly prohibit any transfer of points or dollars amongst candidates. So let's say I'm running for president and I only spent $15 of my budget. And Ella, has gone all out and she's like made a website and she's done so many things and she spent like $20. She spent all of her budget, $20. And she's like, Nick, I really need I need $5 extra to like get like a blow up doll of me to be to be on campus or something like
that. Hypothetical.
And so, I could never transfer the $5 to her. That's what we mean. Any receipts of purchase items such as online templates, graphic design platforms. So if you like get the subscription to Canva, it has to be emailed to us. Again, there's a free trial on Canva, so you don't have to subscribe to Canva, but that was just the example that popped into my head.
Free version is pretty good. I think I say so myself.
Ella and I will be monitoring campaign materials / online platforms, and we reserve the right to take down or disqualify any candidate who posts like any unapproved or unsubmitted items, okay? So make sure that everything you post has been approved by Ella or me. then this is kind of new to this year. So we don't want to create any like unfair advantage to those that are studying on campus for the spring. So you are not allowed to post any physical posters, in your dorms or on campus at all. Okay. And then we're fully committed to being accessible and inclusive to all Brown students. So if you feel that the $20 budget imposes a financial burden on you, like please email our SEO advisor, Anna Barraza. Her email is here, annabarraza@brown.edu, and we'll cover the $20 budget for you. And I'd like to add that like I never used like I think I've used like 5 to 10 publicity points. So don't feel like you have to use all of your points. Don't feel like you have to use your entire budget. Like Elle and I have seen really successful campaigns that have like literally only used like 5 publicity points in the past. So
And like $0 as well. Like please don't feel pressure to spend like any money if you don't want to. Like you definitely don't need to.
and Max just added beautifully. He said I never spent any money on campaign materials the 2 years I ran. So like it's just there if you would like it, like, and just so we have some rules around it, but don't feel obligated to use it at all. Yeah.
So here's the kind of like, and also don't worry about like memorizing these like point values, because our elections handbook, you can consult that, which has this information as well as a bit more about like what we don't allow. Like for example, we don't allow campaigning on a ticket. Like if you and your friend like want to run for president and vice president, you guys can't run together. You need to run like separate campaigns. But these are just some, point values. Like if you post your campaign statement on Facebook, that's like 1 point. But once you post it, it can be shared as many times, and like that doesn't count as like a point per share. If you make like a Facebook page, that's 5 points, or a Facebook event. Although, if you do make a Facebook like group, event, page, what have you, please make sure to invite me to it so I can keep track. Because Nick does not have a Facebook, and that is a running thing of CCB, is that I make fun of Nick for not having a Facebook. But it just makes it easier for us to keep track of your campaigning, and just so we can not like keep a close eye, but just to make sure. We also don't allow like negative campaigning. Not that anyone ever really did ever, but like that's just, we still just want to like emphasize that it's supposed to be friendly and fun. Yeah, so again, like just to emphasize what Nick said, you do not have to use like all of these publicity points. Like I never made a website. Like I did never made a YouTube video. It's totally up to you. Like what my campaign's like my first 3 years. First 3 years. My friend made me memes, and like I would post that on social media, and it was like fun and cute, and it was like a vote for Ella. Like somehow he loves to make memes, so like I was like, I need your help. But yeah, you definitely don't like have to use all of these publicity points. Like I just want like I think Max, Nick, and I want to make sure that you guys don't like get stressed out by like the thought of campaigning, because it's not supposed to be like a super stressful process. Like it's supposed to be like fun, get to interact with new students in your class that like you didn't get a chance to meet before. I know I've met a lot of great people like while campaigning, and it was a really fun time.
And I think like, just wanted to add one more thing, Ella. Could you go back to the
Oh
point?
yeah.
Uh, I just wanted to make this clear because sometimes this can be confusing. So your campaign statements, the examples we showed you before, it's only 1 point. So like you'll submit it and we'll take away that 1 point, but you can share it as many times as you want. So if you post that on like your Instagram story and you're like, can you talk to your friends, you're like, can you share this for me? They can share it on their story, and that's fine. And again, Elle and I have done our best to make sure that this list, we've captured all of the items that we think people could think of, but the list is not it might not be comprehensive. So like if you think of some crazy whack idea that like you want to do and put out there, like email us and we'll try to figure out some sort of like point value for that and assign it to that. And we'll add it maybe for future CCB generations who want to run, and they'll have it and that'll be a good idea. So, yeah.
So yeah, we just wanted to open up to any questions you all have. Thank you for sticking with us as Nick and I ramble and talk about how much we love CCB because we really do.
So I'm gonna stop the recording, and then I think we can stop the presentation and just move into so we can see everyone's faces.